Hello, hello. How is everyone tonight? How is everyone? What is happening? What is happening? I know it's been a few minutes, a few days, or a couple weeks since I've been on YouTube. There's been so much happening behind the scenes and a lot of stress and a lot of stuff that I don't even want to go into right now. It's not cool. It's not cool. Needless to say, it's all lesson in gratitude. Life throws you curves, and you just have to just learn how to manage the curves. And that's what we've been doing. But luckily, our health is okay. My health is okay. My husband's health is okay. The dog was sick for a while. She's doing better. I may even do a PSA type of video about what happened with our dog, one thing at a time, but I had not done any kind of general about me video in a while. You've seen me come on and I'm doing makeup and I'm doing tutorials. And speaking of which, if you're new to my channel, please hit subscribe, and if you like this video, please hit thumbs up. Okay, well, we're gonna get that in before before I get in too deep here. But one thing I have not talked about is I have an art background. Before I went into the beauty world, I come by the beauty world and sales and things naturally. My father had a sales background. He sold everything from working for the Vicks company at one point to General Electric, Hot Point, and he also did numerous different kinds of products and over the years, and everything from encyclopedias to at one time my dad and my mom sold a line of makeup that was like a part-time gig thing that they were doing in the late 60s. It's not around anymore, but it was called Ovation. And it was like little stackable cream blue eyeshadows, green eyeshadows, and the lips had red lips and pink lips and this, and they were all in little pots, and I stacked them up. You stacked them up, and you could stack them and have, it was like save space in your purse and save space. Really great idea. There's a lot of people who makeup companies who now use that idea. But anyway, I was 3 and 4 years old, like playing with those little stackable things as if they were blocks, basically. So, and then my mom had a modeling background, and then she did local modeling and local department store modeling in the late 60s and through the 70s, and even before that in the 50s, when she lived in where she grew up in the South. But in the DC area, she was doing local store modeling and and all different kinds of appearances and things. And then back then they would have, like, if you're doing a car show, they'd have pretty women advertising by standing by the car, and you get paid for the day, that kind of thing. So, she did those kinds of things even after having 4 kids. So yeah, she was one of those. So I come by my sales and marketing things kind of naturally. I come by the beauty stuff naturally from growing up around beauty, around my mom, and then I had older sisters who always had their magazines and different things. But I also my great grandmother studied at the Corcoran School of Art in DC. Then my grandmother studied art, and then my 2 older sisters don't do a lot of things in terms of creativity. But my brother is a musician, and he also did art. My dad did study photography. My parents, just once again, was one of those like part-time things. They started their own theater company in the town that they were living in at the time in New York in the 50s. So, so really, I come from a very creative background. So when I was growing up, of course, like art was encouraged, and music was encouraged, and creative things were very encouraged, as well as dance and performing and those kinds of things, as well as everybody did also hair. Growing up to save money back then, people did their own hair and like color their own. Of course, there's a lot of DIY people still doing those things now, but at that time, it was especially for what, doing a double, my mom did her hair to almost look like Marilyn Monroe, and double processed blondes and those kinds of things can be very tricky to do yourself, but she did it. Okay, so I've had an interest, always had an interest in art. I enjoyed art. I was originally going to go to art school, fashion design, study art and fine art and fashion design, like a combo. But that kind of didn't work out at the time. I didn't really have money and I didn't get a scholarship. So that's why I ended up deciding to go to cosmetology school. So, okay. So because of that, I still have a lot of my art around, and I have off and on dabbled in doing paintings and doing art and taking art classes. And that's just one of our wedding pictures over there, in case you're wondering what that was. But I have various, and lately I've done about once every 6 months or so, or a year or so, I'll do a just one of those like fun little painting get-togethers classes with friends. And so I now have a friend who does her painting classes and brings you the supplies and all that stuff, and you can have some friends over and you drink wine and you just have a good time. But and usually those are things that people, it's kind of a way to like get your keep yourself active if you don't really have a lot of time. For me, I don't have a lot of time. I'm juggling 3 jobs right now. But because of that, it's a way to keep your creativity going and your juices flowing and all that stuff, as well as keep your talent and your eye, active. So I'm just going to show a couple of things that I did. Some of the things I did before in art class, and then some of the things, and then I'm going to talk about some of my adult coloring book adventures. And so one of the things, so I'll show you some of the artwork I did. I actually have all of my pastel, and this is one. These were all done in art class when I was in high school. If you want to follow Walt Bartman, he was my art teacher. Oh, see, there's some reflection on there from the bathroom here. But that was for figure drawing class. And let's see if I can get it without the reflection. There we go, that's better, yeah. And then this one right here. This one is a favorite. This one, a lot of people really like this one because the colors, the turquoise and stuff. But basically, we would have like one person would take turns being in front of the art class, and then we all take turns being the model, so to speak. And so then this one I kind of did. This one here, if there's no reflection. Yeah, there we go. This one I painted when I was kind of like after high school, post high school. I just kind of I had a piggy bank, and I had this candle holder, and I had, just a curtain, I just did a little still life. And then one of my customers, who was really a great friend, she'll be like, Marilyn, I'll drive you, don't worry about it, because I don't drive anymore. But she said, hey, let's go to this. So she started doing these things at a place here in Montgomery County in Maryland called Muse. It's a place where you can, pay a price, and they give you the paint and the canvas, and they just tell you step by step how to do everything. And so she says you can go and they do a different, certain designs, certain days, certain things. And so she showed me, hey, this one's coming up. And I said, oh, hey, this one I want to do. So, and then of course everybody in the class is, all look sort of similar, but they all look sort of different because everybody has, a different style, or some people have more experience than others. But it's also a great way to, learn step by step. And I call it the easier way than the kinds of things that, fine art classes that are really talk about, like the design and where they make sure the perspective is this way and that way. These classes are, what I would say, they're kind of much more freeing in a way, because you don't have to worry about having this, the the pressure of having everything be perfect. And I really kind of like these classes. I used to kind of think of, in a snobby way, go, oh, that's not really, they're just teaching, it's just teaching so simple. But of course, from an artist standpoint, what I do is, even if I do something simple in the class, I'll be kind of like bring it home and then do more to it. So this was kind of like a tree of life kind of thing. And I thought that when this was one of, this is one of my favorite ones. And I really liked it because I like the eye and I like the tree and all that. And I thought that was really, really cool. And then we did another one that a friend of mine who now is the one who I've mainly been doing her things, her painting events, where that same friend of mine who took me to Muse, she hosted her own painting event, and then we hired my friend to do the party, and then she did this thing. I guess it's used in a lot of ads. This is a picture with the sea, the ocean with the glass, and so this is. I'm just gonna move it here. This is the one that, of course, mine was much more simple, and then I brought it home and I did more to it. So, of course, I've always wanted to go back to this and kind of put something like, beach vibes, or paint some letters on either side, or add some other more things to it. But, even just by itself, it's just kind of brightens up the room. And especially when I light my pink flamingo and all this kind of stuff, it's kind of, I really helps me in these long winters that we have here in the DC area. We kind of have it's kind of like summer goes, and then you're in sweats for 9 months, and then everything gets dark after the time change, and it's just, I'm just not that into it, So anyway, so then all of a sudden, of course, the pandemic hit. I'm just going to fix my phone back here. You can see my hair stuff back there. So the pandemic hit, and then I was kind of like, time on my hands, like everybody had time on my hands, and I'm thinking, what am I going to do? And you can see I have some Art Deco clock I have, and there's actually one of Patrick has this movie poster, which is really cool. And I got some more Art Deco, and I have other Art Deco and Art Deco over there. That's one of the Vogue covers, and just some sort of dining room decor. Eventually, I've always wanted to kind of filter out some of the stuff, because it's almost like a little too, I feel like it's a little too much for this room. But anyway, So during the pandemic, and just as a stress reliever, I thought about getting into coloring. And I'd always kind of thought, once again, I thought it was always kind of like, I never thought about just art doing stuff I always thought about art in terms of doing it as a project, or something to sell, or something for an art show. And I guess I always thought of it in terms of or a school project, or I always thought of it as something major instead. And one thing but over the years, it's been to just see it as something fun to do, where it's just art for art's sake, instead of being art for school, for art for for a grade, or art for an income, or art for just that kind of personal goals. There's things I'd always had, I've got to do this many paintings this year, or I've got to do this many things, or I've got to do this. I mean, I've got so much. I mean, these are some of the things. These are just a few. I've got a lot upstairs, and I've got a lot that I've framed, and things that I'm selling, prints that I'm selling of different pieces and different styles and different things. So I've always had that pressure where it's where I think of it is where I think of how I market makeup, or how I market doing hair, or whatever, where it's more of work related and not just fun, and I know that sounds crazy, because it is fun, but I've always thought of it as terms of just of income. And because of the pandemic, things are shut down, and I just was looking for a way to relieve stress, and just think about just doing some things that were fun to just take me away, take my mind and my I don't know, just kind of think about something else besides the darkness that, what COVID has brought to our lives. And there were things, of course, every time you turn on the news, numbers and were going up, and going to the store and early in the morning, or not going to the store, and things being gone. And even now, 2 years later, we got supply chain issues. This is stress, this is different things, and losing friends. And so I thought, you know what, I'm just going to just do some things, and it doesn't matter that nothing has to be perfect. It's okay. And that's what I tell other people, but it was very hard for me to kind of learn do that lesson for myself. So all of a sudden I discovered, okay, years and years ago, and I don't know why I bought this, but I don't know why I never did anything with it. And it was just because it was, like I said, my mindset. My mindset was focused on art for income or art for a grade, and not just playtime. Okay, so years and years ago, and this is back when we still had bookstores. Okay, real bookstores like Borders or Barnes and Noble. I had bought this, and I always loved Alice in Wonderland, and I always loved the original. Now, of course, everything's backwards. So I always loved the original, the original authentic, the original publishing of Alice in Wonderland. They had the original drawings by Tenniel, I guess it's Tenniel, yeah, Sir John Tenniel, okay, did the illustrations for the original Alice in Wonderland and the original Alice Through the Looking Glass. So I happened to see, I bought this, and it sat empty. It sat with no color for years and just sat on my bookshelf. And I thought someday, I would love to do this as a coloring book. But 16 years. It could have been, what is this copyright? Oh, no. Yeah, years. It's been years. Oh, no, September 2016. Okay, so it was 6 years. Okay, somehow, yeah. That's in my mind, 2016. Yeah, 6 years ago. 6 year I bought this somewhere. And I was like, I think it was right when some of the last bookstores were starting to close around here. And I bought it, and I thought, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it. It's so great. I love it. And 6 years, it sat on my shelf. So I brought it out, and I didn't even have good crayons. Okay, I don't even know what happened. I thought I had a nice set of crayons. I just had a cheapy set of crayons, and I decided to fill it in, and I filled it in. And I decided also to make it be like how each thing was, okay, like, see, here's the way I did the rabbit. So wherever there was a rabbit, I kept the colors the same. So that, throughout the book, the outfits, were going to be consistent. The outfits were consistent, and I kind of drew things as, what I'd seen. But I just thought it was just really fun. And even some of these other characters, like these guys right here, and then they did this other thing where I still kept their outfits the same, but I kind of like mixed up the background, and I had fun repeating the patterns and saying, okay, if this one's here, then this one's going to be here, and this one's going to be here. And I just kind of saw it as like an illustrator, as well as just like a way to just kind of explore my own types of shading. Like I've always loved tropical design, so like even like doing these leaves, doing different colors in the leaves, like some of the dark greens and the turquoises, and just kind of thinking thinking about art the way I think about makeup, in just being playful, and plus it's a playful story, and it's one of those timeless stories. It's really fun. And even though the original is actually kind of on the dark side, it's, even though we think of it as childlike, but there's still some interesting themes in there. But there's just so many cool ideas, and it really inspired me, and it really was really fun to just kind of just kind of color it. No, I thought I'm not going to make everything perfect. I don't nothing has to be perfect, but I did want to keep the color schemes for each character the same. But even like things like this, like I didn't really make everything be exactly filled in or exactly perfect. Or even like this, you know, I just kind of just put down the idea. And I would do it when I was watching TV, or I did it when I was just like, I listened to a podcast. I discovered podcasts. That's another thing that happened during the pandemic. I'd never been into podcasts before. I know I'm late to the game. I know I'm late to that party. But I just had always thought, what are these people listening to podcasts? Well, because plus I always equated podcasts as serious political podcasts. And I discovered, you know, podcasts that were about movies and pop culture and all these things that I like, and celebrities and TV shows I love, and you know, so then I really got into it, and it was really fun to I listened to the podcast, and so my mind was, you know, stimulated, and then I'd be drawing and just filling in and coloring and just having a really great time. And like even like this, like being able to do the detail on some of these, it was just like really challenging to me, because I've never been someone that's into detail. If you see some of the things I do, like there's some detail, but not like this kind of intricate costuming detail. Even though I used to sketch costumes, but I wouldn't get that into some of these things with these, you know, where you're trying to, you know, fill in these brocades and some of these costumes. But even like something like this, like, okay, it's not 100% perfect, but you get the gist, and it brings out it really makes the drawings pop. Okay. So, you know, I really had a fun time exploring, or even like doing the letters and all that. So yeah. And the hardest thing is, and I'm going to say this, if you come from a creative family, some people could say, oh, that's so great, it's so wonderful, you're always doing stuff, and you're always creating or whatever, and you're always being, yes, you're encouraged to create, but at the same time, everyone's a critic, right? Bless my family, bless their hearts. But when you grow up in a home where you know you're going to bring things home from school, or you're going to bring things home from art class, you're going to bring things home, or you're going to show this project, that project, whatever, the people can be like, well, you didn't do that, you know, because if you're not from an artistic family, everyone's could just go look at it, and if you're pretty good, they're gonna be like, oh wow, that's great, you did that, that's great. But if you come from a family where people are very already doing it, it's just sort of like we're up in a sports family where everybody's good at sports, right? What are they gonna do? They're gonna be like, well, the way you threw that football, or the way you threw that pass, you know, didn't really make that line, and It's the same kind of thing. It's the same kind of thing with art. And it can be very like, oh, well, why did you use those colors? Why did you decide to do this? Why did you decide to do that? And it becomes like a critique. And it's like, no, I just want to bring my stuff home and not have a critique. Well, the thing is about the pandemic is, I wasn't around people very much, and hardly at all. But also, those people who were those critics, in my family, they're gone. They're long since gone. Sorry to say, sad to say, but it's my reality. They're gone. So because of that, it actually was kind of freeing, even though sometimes might have those voices in my head, right? So I might have those voices telling me, oh, you shouldn't do this, but just ignore those voices, okay? Just even if it's not someone in your family, or you're in your past, or even someone around you, or it might be even your own voice in your head saying, oh, you can't do that, you're not that good, do it anyway. Don't listen to those voices, okay, that tell you that you don't know what you're doing. Just don't even worry that you don't know what you're doing, and just have fun, okay? So that these were just done what I just called just like kind of, they were kind of like not the best crayon. They were kind of like a cheapy crayons, okay? So I got in after I finished that. I was like, okay, I'm really gonna dive deep. Okay, I'm gonna dive deep. And one of my, I guess, a Facebook friend, because I do because I do, by doing Avon or doing some of these other brands of beauty, you get to know other people that are like, say other sales representatives to other direct sales companies, right? So like Tupperware or, LuLaRoe or, so one of them is this company called Usborne Books. And they had a whole, I just always thought it was kids' books, right? I didn't, and because whenever usually I'd seen anybody who was a representative for Usborne, I always saw that they were showing for kids' books for children, and I never really paid that much attention. And then I was like, well, I'm not really into it. But then one of the people who joined my Avon team was also a rep for Usborne Books because she had small kids, and she was like, Marilyn, you really should check out what we've got. and I now, once again, I have to admit that I prejudged the situation, and I opened my mind, and I was like, wow, look at all these coloring books. So I invested in a bunch of coloring books, and I'm working on them. We're slowly working on them. So one of the first ones I got was what was it? Oh, I still had a crayon in there. I saw a crayon in there. I got one that's Celtic patterns. My husband's really into Celtic stuff. And then here was another thing. It was like, I don't know that much about Celtic patterns because they're usually like these very intricate blendings of all these details. But I was like, you know what? I'm not, and you could do it that way. You could do them that way with these, where every little detail is a different color. But then I was like, you know what? I'm not going to stress myself out about it. Some things I may fell in and do, like this one I had a lot of fun with the yellows and the purples. But I'm not going to stress myself out. And like some things I just like, let's just do the whole thing in a certain color, or a whole thing in a certain theme. And I just, I said, this is my thing. I'm going to do it my way. And so here's some of the other color combos I did, and some really cute fun. I kind of like that's a face, and I really like how all these little things, and then all these little faces and masks and stuff like that, because I have some mask collections. And then here's some of the other ones, music and poetry. And you're kind of learning. What I like about it is it, they even a lot of these things they aim. This is sort of like you're teaching, there's like teaching all about the Celtic culture, ancient culture, and it's just very, very cool. And of course, like even like the pottery and stuff like that. But it's just, I really had fun with these designs. Some of them I did more monochromatically, and some things I did. And of course I thought, why should I keep it? Of course no one had, pants these color or whatever back then. But I just had fun with it. I just had fun. And basically, that's what it's all about. It's your thing. It's your, and I thought, it's my books. It's my thing. I don't need to. Who says you can't have weapons that are like different colors? Who says you can't? Who says you can't have it? But I had fun with even the unicorn or some of these, animals and different things like that. And instead of just doing, I could have gotten caught up in doing all these details, but I thought, what, let this be the main thing and just have this be more like a trim. And then I got some pens. I invested in, because this is just for something else. I invested in some flare pens, some fine point flares. It's so funny because it was like, I can remember back in the day loving flare pens, and this is Paper Mate Flare, and these are like this kind of a point, and they just give like this, like really, here I'm swatching just like it's lip liner. But some of these are very fine pointed. You can make them a little deeper, you can go a little lighter, so I got like these, and I just started playing around, and I thought, what, I don't have to fill everything in flawlessly because they're so fine pointed. I kind of did it intentionally messy just to kind of have fun, just to kind of just to even break out of that. Why should I fill in the whole thing? Let me just do it a little messy and a little almost like as if it was brush strokes. But so, you know, I had fun with that. So that's about as far as I've gotten with the Celtic. But just to show a couple other ones I got, and I can't wait to delve in. Like this one is vintage fashions, and you know I love vintage things. And then in this, it actually shows like different jewelry of different things. You could fill that in. And then look at this, look at these outfits. Okay. So some have color and some are blank, so you can fill in. There's mods, 20. It's like different geometric prints from different eras. There's 20s, Art Deco, and then you have the 60s mod. They're really brilliant. And this is Usborne. Okay, this is Usborne. So shout out to Usborne. It's fantastic. The psychedelic swirls, like the Poochie prints. Look at all the different shoes. Look at how fun. How fun. I mean, look at this. Look at this. You could color it any way you want. From like the granny boots to like the platforms to heels, you know, just like so cute. And look at these patterns, you know, look at how fun. So this is a really fun, cute coloring book. I can't wait to delve into this. But what I always tend to do is I tend to do the whole book front to back, just, you know, just like finish it and then I move on to this. And then I also have one that's all Art Deco because I love Art Deco. Okay, this was also Usborne. And these are all, look at how cute this is with the metallic, okay, and the pattern. And these are all, like, it also has fashions too. And look at how you've got like you learn about the antique jewelry and fans, stunning fans and patterns. But even the china is so cool. In the city, like the skyline, it's really cool. Glamorous glass. And then here's like vintage, here's total Erte, but they don't credit Erte, but this really is from an Erte. I have Erte books, and I really love Art Deco. And then I also got one that's Art Nouveau, which was like before Art Deco was Art Nouveau, and Art Nouveau was like all these swirly patterns, kind of Gilded Age, post-Gilded Age, and then, you know, I would call it like when I think of Downton Abbey. You know, Downton Abbey is started more gilded, you know, that around the Art Nouveau time frame. So and here's like the Tiffany glass and some of these advertisements that were posters, late 1800s. Late 1800s, early 1900s. I always loved that time period. So this was these are going to be some really fun patterns to color, you know. And then the other one I got is just truly Victorian patterns. Look at these laces. Okay, so that one was Art Nouveau, and even look at how so pretty. And then this one is called Victorian patterns to color. And then look at that metallic on there. It's really cute. So, I'm like, not even, like, I'm filming this with, like, you know, a little bit of, little bags and not my best hair today, but I wanted to just come on here and look at how gorgeous. Talk about something to really get some really fun designs with these laces and the tiaras. Needle points. Look at how this is going to be some really fun things. So what did I switch to? Okay, so I did switch up. I did invest in, okay, so I even got an official little pencil case because I had everything. I had everything in like a grocery bag. Okay, that's how dense how lame I was, because it was just one of those things that I was so overwhelmed. I was so overwhelmed that I couldn't even organize that. I mean, I have other boxes. I have other like organizers for my actual paints and things, but I was like, this was such an afterthought. It was just something that I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna do it. And I'm just gonna put it to the side, and when I'm in the mood, I'll bring it out. Da, da, da. So it took me a long time to say, I'm gonna get organized with this. Okay, so I did invest in these twistables. These were something cool that I really enjoy. These twistables, and you twist them out, and they're all they're like crayons, but they're much bigger and better pigmentation. So I got a bunch of these. I don't know. I don't know if it was all one pack, but they almost look like candy almost. But so I got but they could have been a couple of different packs. I just don't remember. I got them at Walmart. I sometimes now will go through like the school supply aisle and the art supplies and those things. So I got a bunch of these. And then oh, there's my pencil sharpener. My Avon pencil sharpener. I've been wondering where that was. I put it in here to sharpen on my so then I invested in a whole bunch of colored pencils, because I knew with these designs I want, it's going to do a little more intricate things. So I got a bunch of colored pencils too. So and luckily, but me, when I do things, when I'm really doing them, I put everything into color order. I'll put all the blues together and all the reds together and all the greens together and all those things, just to make it be like, easier to find. So I'll do that. I lay everything out. I just would, like, let's say, lay everything out, and let's see, phone cord, charger cords here and stuff. But I would lay everything out and get it organized, so then, and just have it spread out, and I have it I'll have it all laid out, and I'll have the book right there. And sometimes maybe I'm watching TV, or maybe I might be, like I said, have it on the coffee table, listening to a podcast, or here on the dining room table. But, it's just one of those fun little things. You can make it your own, make things your own. And I it's so funny, because I actually had to take my own advice. After so many years of telling other people, be yourself, let your creativity fly. Don't worry what other people think. But in my mind, like I said, I still had those other voices, or I had those other people, or even my own attitude about work and art and work, and how it was just, I was associated it with income and things that were monetization, I guess is the way to call it, as opposed to just seeing it and being free. Now, of course, not to say I still have things I'm gonna start selling. I'm gonna start posting more things on. I'm gonna start adding things. I have an eBay. I wouldn't say channel, what's the word, eBay account, sales account, where I used to be selling a lot more vintage things, and lots of all kinds of, everything from different vintage t-shirts to little purses, little makeup things from the 50s and 20s that I had that I inherited, and things that I collected from thrift stores over the years. And even just so now I'm going to be doing everything from, clothes that I have to, little art pieces, and my own art pieces, or little objects to art, I guess you would call it, or, just different things I find are interesting that might share with someone else, right? So I will be uploading things over there, and of course I'll do a video about that. But I just wanted to share this with you guys, and just to show that, something different, and something fun, and something freeing, and de-stressing, and safe, safe, easy, no harm to anybody. And it's kind of really like a really great outlet. It's really been a fun thing to just kind of be like, well, hey, I can think about this for a while, and I don't have to think about, I can set those problems aside, and just enjoy something, right? And just enjoy something, and just make it fun. And it doesn't even have to be about, oh, I've got to do this, or I've got to do this, I've got to put this up, I'm gonna do that. No, it's just freeing, and it's just been really wonderful. So anyway, I hope you like this video. you know, and I always put my information below. I wish, you know, once again, YouTube, you know, just like how Facebook changed things, they were letting me save it again, my videos over there again and post here, but then they took that away again. It's like they giveth and then they taketh away, okay? So, and just like here with YouTube, you know, I used to have comments here and I used to be able to connect more with you guys. They took that away. I'm still trying to build up. And you know, and once I don't know, I think I can get to it. Once I get to 1,000, I'll have comments again. But who knows? You never know with these things. They you know. But anyway, you know, please share this video with your friends who might be interested in adult coloring books, or you know, or even just someone who just might need a smile, and someone who might like, you know, some of these other things that I do on here. But anyway, thank you all always for the support. Thank you for your purchases and from my Avon business. Thank you for, you know, just showing me that you like me, and you know, it's helpful. It's really helpful, especially when you're going through tough times. It really is helpful. But anyway, I just want to send out some good positive vibes out to you, and I hope you know, things are going well for you wherever you are. So anyway, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.